Next up for us is State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Cincinnati Bengals 1-3, 0-2 on the road at the Cardinals, 1-3, 1-1 at home. Let's get into the line history here for this Cardinals spot. We are sitting with a total at 45.5. 45.5. This opened up at 42.5. We have a 3-point move towards the over. A big, big move towards the over. Let's get into the spread here for this one. Another afternoon start. And we're sitting here with Arizona +3 and -106. This opened up with Arizona +4.5, and this dropped to +3. This one, there are so many biases involved because you have the vividness bias and then you have the recency bias. And they are intersecting here with the Bengals because the vividness bias says, oh, Burrow and Jamar, you trust this offense, they're going to get it together. The recency bias says they're just a bad football team. And my first thought when I saw the Bengals at this number, I was like, oh, God, I got to bet Bengals. It was just jumped out, and I stopped myself. No. Let's just regroup and break it down. Birdie says he's got the Cards +5, says he'll be betting the Bengals money line and some alts. Joe says he's been fading Cincy all year. Harold Williams says Bengals and auto fade. So let's just take a look at the cash flow here for this Bengals spot. We have 43% of the tickets and 77% of cash on the Cardinals. That's clearly sharp money. It's moved from 4.5. Birdie said he got the 5. Then we have 65% of the tickets and 90% cash on the under, and it's gone up 3 points. The Bengals coming off a disastrous performance in a 27-3 loss at Tennessee. I mean, just a horrible, horrible performance. We're 4 games into the season. The Bengals don't have a touchdown in the first half of a game yet. 211 total yards and 109 through the air. They were 2-9 on third down, 0-1 on fourth down, 1 appearance in red zone that failed. Joe Burrow throws for 165 yards. I mean, what's going on here? Jamar Chase still caught 7 passes for 73 yards, but no other receiver caught for more than 26 yards. Joe Mixon ran 14 times for 67 yards, caught a pass for 9. The defense got gashed for 400 yards. This was against the Titan offense that managed just 94 yards last week in Cleveland. The Titans went 9 of 14 on third or fourth down. I mean, they managed to get some pressure on Tannehill, who's a statue back there, and 3 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. But T. Higgins did not play in the second half because of injured ribs. And now they're starting cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt's in concussion protocol. And what percentage of players do we see coming out of concussion protocol this year? Very low number are getting out in that first week. Cards coming in off a very difficult 35-16 loss against the powerhouse Niners in Santa Clara. They put up yards, a lot of yards, but they just couldn't stop the Niners. I mean, that's just a state of how good the Niners are right now. Joshua Dobbs, this guy looks very good, man. 28 for 41, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran 12 times for 48 yards. Michael Wilson looks like a great draft pick out of Stanford, 7 catches, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marquise Brown caught 7 for 96. James Conner's running the ball nice. 23 first downs against the Niners. 8 of 15 on third or fourth. I mean, that's nice numbers, but they were incapable of getting stops. Well, maybe they don't need to worry about getting stops here. 49ers had 30 first downs. Listen to what the 49ers did in that game. They were just 3 of 5 on third down. Isn't that crazy for a team that got 30 first downs? So maybe this is the spot where the Bengals can get right. The Niners were 5 of 5 in the red zone. Then you have offensive lineman Dennis Daly and linebacker Micah Sanders, who are both eligible to be designated to return to practice and could be activated. They've missed a minimum of 4 weeks. Daly suffered an ankle injury in the preseason finale. Sanders fractured his hand at the start of training camp. It's very important if they can get these guys back because they're not a deep team with a ton of depth. And Kyler Murray is eligible to be activated off the PUP, but that's not going to happen. Take it away for us here, Troy. State Farm Stadium, Bengals Cards. Take it away.
I remember Monday morning, I was looking at this game. In Chicagoland area, there's hella traffic anywhere you go in the morning. So I'm sitting in fucking bumper-to-bumper traffic, looking at the odds and watching this line drop in front of my face. I opened up the app. It was at 6. In front of my eyes, the shit dropped to 5.5. I put it down, get to work. First thing I do is pop it open. It's down to 4.5. I mean, it moved within an hour. People bought it up. So Birdie, I think, got a 5. I think that's a good line to get based on some of these things that I'm looking into Burrow. I mean, at this point, you should probably just sit Burrow. I mean, he's clearly immobile in the pocket, folds under pressure, only 6 passes of 10 or more yards. I think that's on the season. 0 last week for 20 plus. Like I talked about earlier in the day, you don't stretch the field vertically. It allows the defense to be, it just makes it so much easier on the defense. Longest reception, only 17 yards. Bengals averaged 3.3 yards, air yards per completion, which is the worst in the NFL. And I was talking about play action in the chat with Birdie a little bit. Well, Bengals run play action and only 8% the dropbacks. That's third lowest in the NFL. And just to bring back up this Eagles team, part of the reason why I think their offense looks a little bit weaker this year is because they cut their play action rate in half from what it was last year. When you have a good, successful running game, which the Bengals do not in this case, but you got to lean on that. Meanwhile, Cardinals continue to impress me. Easily could have been 3-0 heading into that San Francisco game, in my opinion. And they forced San Francisco to play solid football. They were threatening in that game. I mean, I thought they were threatening in that game at least, even though I had no action on the game. I watched it. But this is another team, just like we talked about with the Rams. Their power ratings remind me of it. They're terrible ratings on defense and the offensive line, but they're still able to be competitive. And that's unlike others that fall in this class. These are two outlier teams, the Cardinals and the Rams, who are overperforming. But they do. I mean, they've been playing mistake-free football, man, taking care of the ball. Not as many penalties as a lot of the other teams we see. But at this number, this 3, it just looks so. It's just like it's almost like it's getting too low now. It's getting too out of control. I'm not backing the Cardinals at 3. That's for certain.
That's the problem. Leonard Porch Jr. says, take the names off the jersey and look at the numbers. And I think you've already bet the Cards. I can't take them at 3, which is fine. Sky Dragon says Cincinnati's played Baltimore, Cleveland 1 and 2 in yards per play allowed. Tennessee and the Rams both in teens in yards per play allowed. Arizona ranks 29th in yards per play allowed. You know, I think it's the two biases for me coming in and crashing into each other. And I would prefer not to have action on this game. I really would. This game makes me extremely uncomfortable. I'm so interested in what's going on in Cincinnati. So interested. I'm so interested in this football game. But those of you who got in at the 5.5s or the 5s or 6s or even the 4.5s, great work. But this game is not something that I'm going to be sitting hemming and hawing, I should say. Anything you want down for, I guess, you said it, just at 3, you can't do it.
I can't do it. Yeah, I'm not interested.
Do you agree with this market move towards the over? 3-point move? I guess with the yards per play allowed that Sky Dragon is talking about, is that the reasoning for why this has gone from 42.5 to 45.5?
I'm surprised to see that, and I believe in that range. I mean, I really didn't want to bet this game in the first place. Once it got to 3 on Monday, I was like, I don't really care about this game, but I'm pretty sure this movement in this range to the over, the under is hit at a pretty high rate. Let's see. I'll get back to you on that.
All right. Well, let's roll.